Kyrie Irving. What is going to happen with the Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie Irving? Now, personally, I don't see Kyrie Irving doing all the things that the Brooklyn Nets want Kyrie Irving to do. The word is that Kyrie Irving is very likely to be bought out by the Brooklyn Nets, that he's very likely played his last game with the Nets. Personally, I buy into that same idea. I just don't see how Brooklyn, given everything that they've said about Kyrie Irving, this whole situation, knowing Kyrie based on what we've seen from the past with him, them being able to reconcile this and him come back and actually play and be productive for the Brooklyn Nets. As well as the Nets, they've won their first two games without Kyrie Irving and even without Ben Simmons, which is another pretty interesting factor as well. And if they continue to win without him, why would you want to bring him back and run the risk of just the toxicity between the organization as well as Kyrie Irving just kind of reaching a boiling point? I just don't see the Nets wanting to do that. Reports are from Stephen A. Smith specifically even said that Joe Tsai is completely done with Kyrie Irving and wants nothing to do with him. And I don't see them reconciling and everything being all good and right in the world again. So I personally think at some point Kyrie Irving is going to get bought out. I think at some point he is going to end up with the Lakers, because I think the Lakers are probably the only team that would actually go after him at this point, primarily because of LeBron James. And if the Lakers are to get him, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon necessarily. I think we are still about a week away at the earliest of Kyrie Irving. Now, Kyrie Irving is on a 5-game suspension, right? A minimum. And he would earliest be able to return against the Lakers, which would be kind of interesting in and of itself, especially if they ended up buying him out and then he shows up. But I think, one, they wouldn't want to do that, right? You don't want to buy Kyrie out. The first game he plays is against the Nets, and it just, the headlines, the controversy, especially if the Lakers end up winning, I don't think that they want those headlines and that news, especially so quickly. I just don't see them signing up for something like that. But also, regardless, there's going to be a sort of process set in place, right? November 13th is when he could be eligible to come back. I think that is the date that will be roughly the beginning date that we see Kyrie Irving get bought out, somewhere shortly after that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's within like a couple days after that, because the way that this is likely going to map out is this coming week, you're going to see Kyrie and Adam Silver's have a conversation. That's going to go however that's going to go. I think even if it goes poorly, I think you're going to hear the PC answer from Adam Silver of like, that was a very productive talk. We had a good conversation. I don't think we'll know that it was poorly, just because I don't think that they're going to want to deal with the headlines and all of the discussions and stuff like that. So I think you're going to have that conversation. After that conversation, then the Nets will shortly buy out Kyrie Irving. Now, before Kyrie ends up going to the Lakers, because I don't think the Lakers are going to sign him immediately, right? Maybe they do, but I think at earliest, they're going to want Kyrie to do a press conference, because regardless, if he's ever to play in the NBA again, he's going to have a press conference. And if you're the Lakers, or any team for that matter, even if it is another team that may want Kyrie or be interested in Kyrie, any team that is, they're not going to want their organization's name behind Kyrie Irving during that discussion. Because if that goes terrible, then that organization is the team that has to deal with that, right? And that's why I also don't think the Brooklyn Nets really want him back. I think that they gave this list of 6 criterias because they don't want Kyrie back, and that's their way out, right? We gave Kyrie a chance to come back, and he failed to do so. I think they know that Kyrie isn't going to do any of that stuff, and they're going to use that as their way to buy him out and say, we just couldn't come to an understanding. We wish Kyrie the best, but he's, unfit for the organization. He doesn't want to do what we want him to do to come back to the organization, and therefore we're going to let him go. We wish him the best of luck. That whole conversation, that press release that they're going to put out. And then I think the Lakers are going to tell Kyrie Irving, look, we want you here. We're going to bring you in. We're going to give you a chance. It's going to be a vet minimum because that's all right now any team can really give him outside of like the Spurs and the Pacers. But the Spurs and the Pacers aren't going to touch him. Any team he goes to is going to be a vet minimum deal. And I think the Lakers are going to say, look, we're going to give you vet minimum, non-guaranteed deal. We're going to give you an opportunity to show us that you can come in and be good and, play well and kind of help us right this ship. Because I also think the Lakers, they're one of the few teams that could really, really, really use Kyrie Irving. I mean, there are teams that could use Kyrie Irving, but the Lakers desperately need a guy like Kyrie Irving, somebody that can come in and help with that scoring load. Kyrie wants to go to Lakers, wants to team up with LeBron. I know people look at LeBron, his interview talking about Kyrie Irving. A lot of that, if you listen to the interview, which I have on this channel, I'll even link it down in the description below for you. In that interview, LeBron James, yes, he does mention Kyrie Irving, but for the most part, that interview was just generalized. It wasn't directly, he wasn't Kyrie Irving is this and Kyrie Irving is that. And it was just more of you understand where I stand from. Got to keep in mind, he's more of a business than he is a player at this point. He has his family, he has his, endorsements, his deals. He has everything that he's not going to risk losing. And to be fair, I don't really blame him. There's not a single person that's going to risk all of the backlash, backlash that could potentially go on, his children and his wife and his family. So I thought he actually responded to it the best way possible. But we've also seen LeBron James be very critical of Kyrie Irving in the past. So I don't think that that's going to really be a factor. And not just that, but it's not like Kyrie has a ton of options. It's not like Kyrie is teams are lining outside to go sign Kyrie, even for a vet minimum deal. So I don't see that being a factor in any way. I think the Lakers will take him on. I think they will take their chances with him. I think LeBron will tell the Lakers, go get me Kyrie Irving. We need him, right? So very likely what will happen is Kyrie's going to get bought out. My guess is probably the 14th, 15th, or 16th, sometime around there. We'll see that. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear about that and get that report around the 13th, something along those lines. I don't think we'll hear the buyout talk until after the Kyrie Adam Silver's conversation. Once we hear that, once they have that conversation, then we will start hearing very likely what the Nets are going to do with Kyrie Irving and all that stuff, right? So then I think the Lakers tell Kyrie, look, you're going to go do your press conference and you're going to, it's going to suck, but you got to write it out. You got to deal with it. Go do the press conference. After you're done with the press conference, we will sign you. But you got to get through it, and you got to do it in a reasonable manner. Because if you end up blowing up or something crazy happens, then we're not going to be able to justifiably sign you. So go in there, suck it up. It's going to suck. Go in there and do that. After you're done with the press conference, we'll sign you. And then that's what I think will happen. Because if he has a good press conference and he answers the questions, then he kind of just goes through it and he bends and grins and bears it. I think that will give the Lakers an opportunity to go, look, he's apologized. He's paid his dues. He's done what he needed to do. He handled the media. Everyone has an understanding. We want to give him a second chance, right? That'll be the whole thing. Not just that, but I think if the Lakers sign him, there isn't going to be a single person in this world that'll be shocked. There's not a single media outlet that is going to be shocked. All of the media right now is talking about how if Kyrie Irving gets bought out, he's probably going to end up with the Lakers. So it's not like this is going to be some huge, taboo. I can't believe the Lakers signed Kyrie Irving. How could they do that? This, that, and the other. Will there be some of that? Probably. But the majority of people, the conversation is going to completely shift. I would be shocked if 99.999% of the conversation is Does Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers make the Lakers a champion? And will Kyrie Irving fit in and be on his best behavior with the Lakers? Can LeBron James get Kyrie to buy in and stay focused? Blah, 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 blah. That's what the conversation and the narrative is going to immediately change to Kyrie Irving and the Los Angeles Lakers, which is good for Kyrie Irving, right? I mean, because the best way to get rid of a media narrative is to give them a new one, right? Because the media, they don't care about the righteous and what's right and what's wrong and all this. They care about the headlines and the story and what is making and generating the money right now. And right now, bashing Kyrie Irving is what is generating the money. As soon as Kyrie gives them an opportunity to change that narrative, he'll change that narrative. On a smaller scale, because it's not the same, but look at Russell Westbrook right now, right? All anybody was talking about, fans, media, you name it, all were just like, Russell Westbrook is this, and Russell Westbrook is terrible, and he doesn't fit, and he is this and that and the other. And now Russell Westbrook has kind of turned it around, came off the bench, and now the conversation is a lot more pleasant. Right? It's like, man, Russell Westbrook, he's really, turned a corner. He's, playing great for them. He's bought in, he's getting MVP chance. The fans are rooting for him and clapping for him again. All this stuff. Narrative completely changed. Narrative completely shifted. Kyrie goes to the Lakers and the Lakers start winning. Same thing. Narrative starts to shift. Narrative starts to change. If these three can come in and win some games and kind of right the ship a little bit, I can almost guarantee that Kyrie Irving is going to be, a light is going to shine a little differently, right? Now, if he comes in and they're terrible, then that could be a problem. But if they, let's say Kyrie comes, let's say on the, let's say, because on the 13th, let's say he gets bought out on the 16th, so maybe he could play for the Lakers on Friday the 18th, right? We're just using this as an example, right? Lakers play the Pistons. If they beat the Pistons and then on, November 20th, they beat the Spurs, all of a sudden that conversation is going to change. And I know that they're not the Spurs and the Pistons aren't the best teams, but still, if they're winning those games, the conversation will be different. And that's what Russell Westbrook needs. So I don't think the Lakers end up getting Russell Westbrook till, basically the midway point at the earliest. It could be longer, could be a lot, it could be, a couple weeks after that. But I think realistically, what'll happen is I think that they will try, the Nets are going to try to trade him first. They're going to try to look for trades. And based on some reports, they already have, and no one wants to trade for him, which why would you? If you're a team, why would you want to trade him? Then that's probably what happens. Kyrie Irving's probably going to eat $10 million in a buyout, and then he'll go sign with the Lakers. He'll get 2.6 back, but he'll get to be where he wants to be. We've already seen he doesn't care about the money. I've seen some people say why would they buy him out? Why not just send him home? Multitude of reasons. One, you still have to pay him. You're still going to have to pay him. And I know some people are like, well, he's suspended right now and they're not paying him. They suspended him for those 5 games. They won't pay him for those 5 games. But after that, beyond that, even if Kyrie doesn't do the stuff that he has to do, they're going to have to still pay him. And if they don't pay him, then what happened with Ben Simmons is going to happen, where Ben Simmons was able to take them to court and get his money back and then some. So you're going to have to pay him anyway, right? So you might as well buy him out and save yourself some money. And on top of that, as long as even if he's sitting at home, the problem hasn't been court stuff. The problem has been off the court stuff. And if Kyrie Irving is still a Brooklyn Net and something happens off the court again, guess who has to deal with it? And guess who's tied to the Brooklyn Nets? Kyrie Irving. And do you think Kyrie Irving's just going to be okay sitting at home? He wants to play basketball. We know he wants to play basketball because every time he's had an opportunity to just tell everyone to shove sand and stay home, he hasn't. So he's going to go to the Nets and he's going to tell them, just buy me out. Let's agree to a buyout. They'll agree to a buyout. He'll end up giving them an extra $10 million. So they'll save $10 million. To them, it'll be worth it, especially if they continue to win. All will be right in the world. He'll end up getting bought out. The Lakers will end up signing him. It's just a matter of time. I really think it's a matter of when, not if. Maybe in hindsight, we look back in a month or two and I'm wrong, and maybe he does stay with the Nets or they do bring him back or whatever. I just don't see it at this time. And I have been pretty spot on about like what would unfold this season. I thought he would go to the Lakers in the offseason. But as soon as they decided to keep him, I was like, this is going to end miserable. And the Lakers are going to end up with him by like the trade deadline. And now I think it'll be sooner. I thought it would be a little longer before this blow up happened. Like I thought we'd be like in December or January, the earliest when this blew up. But I said they're probably, if they start off to a bad record and they look terrible, they're going to implode. I said they're a bad day away from completely imploding, and they already are imploding. So I think it's just a matter of time before Kyrie Irving is gone, and he'll be in the purple and gold. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Again, these are just my thoughts. I don't know for sure if this is how it's going to play out. It just makes sense to me. Looking at like the scope, looking at what is going on right now, you're going to have the Adam Silver's meeting. After the Adam Silver's meeting, you'll probably hear a couple like trade rumors and stuff because the Nets are going to be trying to trade Kyrie, and then nothing will come of that. They'll have the buyout probably after the Lakers game because they're not going to want Kyrie to play them in a Lakers uniform. So you probably have it after the 13th. He gets bought out. He has his press conference. If he hasn't already had his press conference, he'll have his press conference, and then the Lakers will sign him. That's probably how it's going to go. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, good, bad, ugly, down in the comment section below.